And welcome back, everyone, to the third installment of the Ben 10 Pokemon Creation Team Series. Now, because Ben 10, the original Ben 10, OG Ben 10, as the suggestion was given, had over like 18 aliens in his Omnitrix by the end of the series, I had to pretty much just extend this entire thing out by 3 videos. And you can mix and match the teams however you want. So we now end up for the last 6. Technically, there's a 19th with Eye Guy. I did not include Eye Guy, mostly because he only ever showed up in a movie. And then he showed up later in another series, not the OG very much. It was like one especially showed up, and so I'm not including Eye Guy. But we're starting with Ben Wolf, which was an alien werewolf. I went obviously with Lycanroc. It's the closest thing we have to a werewolf. It's also, I believe it can learn things like Hyper Voice, if I'm not mistaken. So that works well with the sonic yelling that the Yanojushi was capable of doing. Then there was Snarrow, which was an alien mummy that he was able to, get the DNA of on a farm. Obviously, we have a mummy sarcophagus Pokemon in Cofagrigus. After that was Ben Victor, which was essentially a Frankenstein-looking individual that got added to the Omnitrix. It was an electrical-based alien. This one was a little bit trickier because I'm like, okay, what electric Pokemon exist that you could say have this type of build or kind of like a patchwork monster kind of thing? And really none fit very well. I ultimately went with Electivire. It does have like coils, not plasma coils, but pistons, things along those lines that you would see in an electric plant to help the electricity out. Was it rods? Whatever. Either way, after that was Upchuck, green woodchuck-like alien that could literally consume any inorganic matter and spit it back out as energy. This I knew I needed a Pokemon that could learn swallow stockpile and spit up. And luckily we got Greedon, who was this giant fat squirrel, but closest thing we had to like a woodchuck groundhog kind of thing. So I think that works fine. After that, we had Ditto, an alien that could literally multiply itself God knows how many times. Sadly, there is no Pokemon right now that can do that, really. So I need something that learned Double Team. And I ultimately went with Drizzle. It's the closest in body type to Ditto, so I felt it was probably the best option. And then finally, we had Way Big, the largest alien in his arsenal. This one was a little tough because the biggest Pokemon there is Eternatus at like 65 feet long, which is great, but it looks nothing like Way Big. So I wanted something that was kind of large, but also looked like Way Big. I settled for Gigantamax Machamp. Yeah, it's got 4 arms, but it's a giant humanoid Pokemon that works in place for Way Big, I think. Now, because these are all single typed, where does this leave the weaknesses and strengths? Well, weaknesses, this really only has a ×2 weakness to fighting with both Lycanroc and Greedon being a normal type, and a ×2 weakness to grass with, again, Lycanroc and Drizzle. Otherwise, there are no shared type weaknesses for this team. In terms of strength, they're not that much better. They got Rock and Fighting strong against Ice, Electric and Rock strong against Flying, and then Fighting and Water strong against Rock. That's about it. It's when we get into the journey you would have with this team that we get into the more concise nature of this team and how good or bad it really is. With Kanto, you'd struggle with Misty, but I don't think it would be an immediate loss because you would have a Ghost type with Yamask at that point. So I feel like it's a little hit or miss, but it's not impossible. After that, though, you would struggle with Erica hard because you still have a rock and a grass type. Grass is not strong Electric's not strong against grass, and rock is weak. And you still wouldn't have Cofagrigus at this point. Greedon you'd have. You might end up stopping at Erica. But if you don't stop at Erica, you actually shouldn't struggle that much with Koga. You wouldn't even struggle that much with Sabrina or Blaine. Giovanni wouldn't be that hard. Honestly, it's when you get to Elite Four, Bruno, because fighting types are a problem for 2/3 of this team. The only mon you don't have that are weak to that aren't weak to fighting are Cofagrigus, who's immune to fighting, but then the Onyxes would be a problem. Not to mention the Hitmonchan should know elemental punches. And Machamp, who can luckily Gigantamax and Electivire. Then you'd still have to deal with Agatha, which would be problematic a little bit. Yeah, you got one who's immune to Ghost, Greedon, but Otherwise, not so much. With the rest of the team, it'd be a struggle. Plus, it's Poison and Ghost. Then Lance's Dragons, and then Blue's very balanced team. I don't see you becoming the champion of Kanto. Now, with Johto, you would have a clean sweep all the way through Claire. Or all the way to Claire. Wagner, weak to Rock. Bugsy, weak to Rock. You'd have 3 Pokemon at that point who should be able to, go toe-to-toe with Whitney. You'll be fine against Morty, quite frankly. You should be even fine against Chuck. And then by that point, you're fine. It's Claire's the one you're going to have difficulty with. Dragon resists electricity, so Electivire, one of your powerhouses, is kind of useless. Even if it's Gigantamax Machamp, there's no guarantee you'd beat her. Then you got to deal with Will, but Will surprisingly isn't that bad with a Ghost type and a Rock type on team to take care of the 2 Zatus and Electric type. Really, you're not going to struggle again until Koga, with Poison not being a good... Poison really isn't all that good against this team in the long haul. Yeah, you can handle the Ariados, no problem. The Muck would be problematic. The Fortress, somewhat problematic as well. It's not in Crobat. Ooh, Crobat's a problem. If you don't take it out quick, you'd struggle. But really, it comes down again to Bruno and Lance. Bruno's team is upgraded here. Not by much, but still upgraded. And Lance's team is far more than this team, I think, can handle. 3 Dragonites? No. Hoenn, you can get through, honestly, the entire game until you get to the Elite Four. And then you get into the robot blocks of Phoebe and Drake. Phoebe's Ghost types, you only got 1 Mon on the team strong against it, and it can't do all the work. Cofagrigus isn't even that fast. So right at the gate, problem. And then even if you get past her, Drake's team just going to put you on the ground. Flygon's going to take out Electivire. You've got flying types and you got dragon types with the Yin Yang on that team. This team would not be able to get through Drake. Sinnoh, you might just reach a dead end with Gardenia, honestly. Yamask could put some work in, but the fact is, your Lycanroc isn't even going to be fully evolved. It's still a Rockruff. So I actually just don't think you get past Gardenia. And even still, you didn't struggle with Byron with his steel typing, so you didn't even struggle with Aaron because you only got 1 Mon good against Rock, or good against Bug, that's it. And it can't do all the work. And then Bertha is another problem with her ground type, so I just don't see you getting through Sinnoh. You struggle immediately in the original Black and White too, or Black and White, because 2 out of the 3 brothers use a type that's strong against your Rockruff. If you can get past them, though, and in Black and White too, you're good all the way to Drake and Iris. Drake and Iris, and then you have to deal with Marshall's fighting types. The long and short of it comes down to, can you beat the champions? No. Iris's team is too powerful. 3 dragons, one of them is a pseudo, and it's a Hydreigon of all goddamn things. Even the Machamp, if you were to Gigantamax, it would only be able to do so much. Because she's also got Archeops on the team. She also has Haxorus on the team. And then Alder's team has 3 different bugs. Even if you take down the Acelgor, he then brings out probably his Excavalier with a steel type move to take it down, and then you have no good answer for it, period. So then you're struggling all the way through. Then Kalos, you would get all the way, quite frankly, to Diantha, and then you stop at Diantha. The Hylucha, you probably could take down, but then you're not taking down the Tyrantrum, it's taking down the Lycanroc. You would have to go Machamp. And then at that point, then it's a struggle because Gourgeist can come out and just screw over Machamp to a certain degree. Goodra still got heavy defenses. And then you still got to deal with Mega Gardevoir, which is a fairy type. So, no, I don't think that's going to happen. You can't beat her. Galar, you're stopped at Milo. Rock versus Grass is not a good matchup. Even with Rockruff's decent stats for a first stage. And even if you get past that, you're not getting past Nessa because it's a Water-type gym leader. So, you're stopped right there. As it stands, you would struggle with Brassius and Paldea, but that's the only one I think you would struggle with, and I think you can still get past them, but you can't get past Rika. Even with Drizzle on your team, it's just 1 Pokemon and not even a fully evolved one, and then you're not getting past Larry. Surprisingly, I don't think you'd struggle that hard against Poppy, but everything else, Larry is a problem, Hassel is a problem. Yeah, no, you can't be champion with any of these Mons, or you can't be champion of any region with this team. Even if you fully evolve Drizzle to a Inteleon, I still don't see it being a likelihood that you'd be able to, win. You might have a better shot, but you wouldn't win. Either way, though, that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Put in the comments below. Let me know. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.